Hey everyone of Witches of the Moon. This week we're talking about how you how you can discover how the deities speak to you, or how you can pay attention to certain things, how they communicate with you. Um, I'm paraphrasing. I'm sure that the title is something different, but that's what I got from it. So I have my notes here. All right, so I feel like the best communication for me personally, even if it's choppy and it can be a little out there sometimes, is dreams. I'm big on journaling, especially. Um, I started I started dream journaling early on. Um, I found that didn't work for me too much. I mean, it was half right. Let me put it this way: journaling is a good thing to do, but it was half right for me. And so what I started doing is making a life journal, and then have leaving a good chunk of a spot for me to go back and write a dream in that I had that night. So when I go back and look through my notes, I know, I can see what's happening in my dream, and I can see prior things that are happening in my life. And your dreams are sometimes your mind just trying to speak with you, and it just gets so jarbled, and it's a mishmash of everything. So it's a good way to kind of break down your personal symbology and how your brain sees the world, because everything that you experience in life is just what your brain interprets. What you're seeing right now, your brain is interpreting that. What you hear right now is what your brain interprets that. It doesn't necessarily mean that's what it is, but that's what your brain is experiencing, and it's giving you that experience. There's actually more of a relay in between what I say and what you hear. It's just so minute we can't measure it, at least in our reality. Um, that is a really good way, I think, is to start off, is to do your life journal with your dream journal. It's not that I didn't have any success with a dream journal. I just felt like when I went back months later, it's hard to kind of figure out, well, what was going on that day, that might have bled into my dream and whatnot. I just feel you are mixing two things in one. And journaling, just a life journal in general, is a good way of meditating. It's an active meditation with yourself, because that's all meditation is it's just trying to kind of sift through your thoughts and figure out, what you need to keep and what you need to release. And that's why everyone, that does videos like I do, that's the first thing they say is you need to do meditation. You need to kind of get rid of things. It's much like spring cleaning every day. Like, if you do it every day, it's like spring cleaning every day. You go through your mind, it's like, okay, I need to release that because that's not doing anything for me. And the reason I am bringing up, kind of find your personal symbology, your personal way that your brain interacts with the world and the things around you, is because deities and spirits and whatnot, whoever you adhere to, they're going to use the tools given to them. And so their biggest tool is your brain. Is, especially in your dreams, that's what they have, is your brain. And so they go in there and they try to use the language that the symbols that and they speak with you. So if you don't have your symbols kind of like on lockdown on what you figure what they are, then they're it's gonna be a very, very difficult experience for you to figure out what it is. It's gonna be a bit of a chaotic mess, because what I see as a cross, maybe I see a cross as protection, and maybe you see a cross as a warning. Maybe I see a crow as a blessing, And when you see a crow, it means that something's coming your way, that you should keep an eye out on things. It's all different for everyone. Our realities might be shared in some way, shape, or form, but it is your personal experience that is being lumped into that reality, if that makes sense. Which brings me to kind of like my second point is another tool that spirits use to speak with you is other people. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but if you've ever felt down or ever had that certain thing that happened to you, and it suddenly everyone that day is speaking about the same thing, and these are different people. They start speaking about this one thing that it's like a very unique thing. Like one day I was thinking about rose quartz for some reason, and it seemed like I kept running into people who either had rose quartz on them or were talking about gemstones and kind of like their favorite one, and they would say, "Oh, I do like rose quartz because I like the pink," or whatever. And it was just like a very strange day. I was like, well, that's very weird, because you don't often run into people that talk about gemstones, especially here in this small town. You're not going to find that. And I was like, okay, well, maybe this is something speaking to me, saying you should pull out your rose quartz skull and either start working with it or carrying it around with you or whatnot. I just felt like there was something that that needed to be had in that experience, and I needed to kind of figure that out, what it was. And a lot of it it's just I was going through a certain time where my emotions were kind of all over the place. And I guess Spirit was saying that it was time to kind of nurture that and calm the fires a bit and know that, I'm kind of loved in a way. Because that's what I feel like rose quartz. It's a very loving stone. It's like your mother's hug. That's the only way I can put it. Rose quartz, it's like getting a hug from your mother when you hold rose quartz. It's just really weird for me. But yeah, Spirit will always find a way to get to you. Now, if you're stubborn, it's going to be a hard experience for you, because you want to heal at your own rate. You want to postpone the inevitable. I can't speak today, apparently. Inevitable, whatever. It's a word. You know what I'm saying. Whatever. Just lost my train of thought. Well, it's like when I talk to people about in tarot readings, sometimes it comes up where they need to let go of stuff. And it's really hard, because when you get so attached to something and Spirit says, okay, well, if you want to get this certain goal done in your life and you want to heal to this certain point in your life, you need to get this done, you have to let some of this go. That's like going to a diet, someone who is setting up diets for you, and they say, okay, if you want to reach this certain amount of, if you want to reach this weight, well, you're going to have to cut out cheese and soda. And me, guys, no, I love my Dr. Pepper and I love my cheese. I'm sorry, I'll cut back on it, but I ain't letting that shit go. It's much like that. It's hard when you hear certain things from nature, when you hear certain things from Spirit, and they're like, look, I'm guiding you. Whether you want it or not, you're getting my guidance, but that's up to you whether you take it. And it's very much on the way. It's like, how much do you want to listen, and how much do you want to actually put action towards it as well? That's another thing. Spirit will always try to get you into this certain action to do. They're not just going to give you random information like, guess what? The Pope is Catholic. It's just like, well, yeah, I knew that. No, they're going to give you information like, oh, by the way, that person that has been talking crap about everyone. Well, guess what? They're talking crap about you. I know you think they're your bestie, but you gotta avoid them. And it might be hard, but you got to do it. And then you go to work, and who's the first person that you talk to and starts talking shit to you and about everyone else? And it's like, yeah, okay, maybe I should start listening to this. It's it's kind of hard to explain for me. Like, I have my own lingo, and I hope that you understand what I'm saying. And I think the last thing that spirit really communicates with is our emotions, and meditation. I use meditation a lot to get in check with my emotions, because my shit's all over the place. I'm volcano one moment, and then I'm all huggy the next. It's like, I don't think I'm really bipolar, but my emotions they're just everywhere. So I use that as a good way to kind of connect with myself, and to ground myself. And the things, I talked a lot about in my last video about how you use your altar as something to remind you of who you are. And that's why you should always put things on there that matter to you, to remind you what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to do, and where you're trying to go. It's like an ad to yourself. Every time you see it, you're like, hey, you've gone over here, it's time to come back over here. And the thing with meditating and getting in check with your emotions every day, it gets you grounded. So when you go out there, when all these things start coming at you, trying to lead you astray in another direction, like when you have $10 in your pocket or $20 in your pocket, and you're going to go to Walmart, I'm just going to go in and grab milk, and then you come out with a cart full of stuff. You're like, I just came in for milk. Meditation is kind of like that way of getting your mind in check and saying, this is what you're going to get on your list, and you're not going to get anything else. If there's other stuff that kind of fuel this fire, that's fine. But don't go out there and get stupid shit and start collecting stupid shit so we got to get rid of it later on. I'm not about that. Spirit is not about that shit, And that's how I kind of see it. It's like, you meditate to kind of get yourself in a mood to where you are going to actually build on yourself, get yourself to that goal, and not get distracted. I think I lost track of what I was talking about. Yeah, okay. So I think I talked about dreams, symbols, your emotions and meditation, and other people. Those are all things that I tend to pay attention to the most. And how other people speak to you, that's a big thing. I know I talked about, what people say to you, but, how people speak to you and how they treat you is another good thing to pay attention to, because, gods will test you, the gods and goddesses, your deities, whoever that you follow, they will test you. And if you say, what, I want to get in this certain state of mind and stay there, they will send people to you that are the opposite. And it's not to kind of get you off your path. It's to strengthen your aura, to strengthen, kind of get you to have that thick skin about things and go, you know what, you're not bothering me today. I'm still going to stay in this mood. I think that's basically really all I had to say on this topic. And hopefully all that kind of meant something along the way. Sometimes I just start speaking and yada, yada, yada. Alright guys, so I will see you next week for another topic that I don't know what it is. I'm sure it's something about connecting with your god and goddesses as well. I look forward to seeing you next week, guys. Bye.